Today I want to talk about painkillers, NSAIDs. Those are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. You can buy most of these over the counter and some of them are prescription. The human mind is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. We'll do anything when we're in pain to seek pleasure, and we'll do anything to avoid pain as well. And that's why over-the-counter NSAIDs and painkillers, a lot of people stock up on this at home. The point is, of course, an NSAID has its place when we're sick, when we have pains, when we're going through post-recovery surgery and all of that stuff. The right way, right time. But the point is, a lot of people misuse painkillers. They pop it like they're popping, I shouldn't say antacids, because antacids are also popped like candy. But the point is, we need to understand the danger of doing this. And that's why it's always good to seek medical supervision or medical permission to do this. See, we take a painkiller once in a way, it's absolutely fine. But I want you to understand today how this is related to people who are suffering from extreme and acute gut problems. Let me give you an example. A lot of people have gut problems today. Some people have very weak guts. They were eating certain foods before and now they can't. Some people have ulcers. Some people have a gut issue where they can just barely eat 4 or 5 very, very bland foods. Everything they eat, the body rejects it, they're nauseous, they vomit, they have IBS, they have constipation, they have all of these gut issues. And we're going to understand today that if you've been consuming a lot of painkillers, or maybe you're on a particular treatment which requires you to take painkillers, there's always a way to manage the side effects. Now let me explain to you how it's not just destroying your kidney health, but even your gut health. And that's why you can't prevent the collateral damage when you make lifestyle changes. Today when people have gut problems, they immediately think a prebiotic and a probiotic is going to solve their problem. But it doesn't. And then they change the brand. Then they change the CFU. Then they go on to crazy fasts, not really understanding that the root cause of their problem could be the overuse of painkillers that they're taking. Our bodies and our tissues produce something called prostaglandins. Think of it in simple language as a hormone-like substance. They communicate. So in your kidney, your prostaglandins protect your kidney. So if I don't have the right amount I'm not able to produce the right amount of prostaglandins in my kidneys start to get damaged, that it can eventually lead to CKD, which is a chronic kidney disease. Now, prostaglandins are produced in tissues around the body. Let's come to the gut. Your gut produces prostaglandins, number one, to keep your mucosal lining thick. What is your mucosal lining? Your mucosal lining is your digestive lining. We produce stomach acid, hydrochloric acid to break down proteins and foods. That acid is very strong, and that's why you need a thick mucosal lining to protect your inner lining from the effect of the acid. Now, what if this lining gets thinner and thinner? Either we're eating we have too much of acid in our body, or because we're on these painkillers, we inhibit the production of prostaglandins in the gut. So now it cannot produce the mucosal lining. So your mucosal lining starts to get thinner and thinner. You still gotta eat food, and every time you eat food, you produce hydrochloric acid. Now that acid further makes your mucosal lining thinner and thinner. What happens? 1, extreme indigestion, pain, peptic ulcers, stomach ulcers. Now the foods that you could eat before, you're suddenly very sensitive towards, or you become intolerant towards it because your mucosal lining, if I eat a normal meal, my mucosal lining allows that nutrition to seep through it. The thicker the lining, the better it is. But now you have a very thin lining. And what happens? You can't eat most of the foods that you could. So you're trying to eat foods, but you're creating more acid. Your more acid is further depleting your mucosal lining. Now something else happens. You have a lower stomach acid because of all of these problems. You start to get an H. pylori. That makes your gut worse and everything else. So what we need to understand that you never abuse painkillers. You may think a simple cyclopam or a simple paracetamol is harmless to you, but please understand that it affects your kidney in the long run and it affects your gut. So now you have a problem with your kidney and you have a problem with your gut. So the whole point is, if you have to be, I'm not here to tell you don't do it. If you have to do it, there are the right ways of doing it. Follow your doctor's instructions. Keep the gaps in between. When you're on an NSAID, if it is actually going to compromise your prostaglandins, you need to be on zinc. You need to be on omega-3. Maybe not a supplement. You could be on foods that are rich in this. You see, there are no foods that produce prostaglandins in our body, but we have to use certain vitamins and minerals that allow it to function in our body. So zinc, omega-3, and we're actually going to make a list and share this with you like we did on steroids. So if people are on these drugs, they can always make sure that they're eating these foods or taking the right supplement to balance the side effects of your painkillers. I'm not here to say that you suffer with pain. You take it, you reduce pain, but you also manage the collateral damage or the side effects of the drug that is eventually going to hurt you. And you need to understand this. Every day we see patients who have been popping antacids like candy, popping NSAIDs like candy, and then they deal with the side effects after a while, which is usually very, very serious. So if you have a gut problem or you have a kidney problem, it's important to see how much of NSAID you've used, and if you continue to have to use it, please make sure that you're taking professional advice on how to manage the side effects of this, because there's a lot that you can do. Now, prostaglandins are also required for so many things. Childbirth. A mother will produce more of it when she goes into labor. During your period cycle, women and young girls, for your contractions to happen, you have to have the right amount of it. So if you have too much of prostaglandins, it's a problem. If you have too little, it's also a problem. Prostaglandins in a way function with our immune system because they produce inflammation. That's why you find them at your tissue receptor sites. They actually heal us, they protect us. But too much of it or too little of it will create problems in our digestive system, kidneys, our immune system, our hormonal function, period cycle, menopause, and everything else. This is the beauty of the human body. As you can see, everything has to be in harmony and everything has to be working in equilibrium with each other. If there's a slight imbalance or too much of imbalance, all of these little chemical messengers start to affect our gut and, as you can see, most organs in our body. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, breathe deep, and remember, you care is all about you.